The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the winding mountain road as Marcus Henderson drove his silver sedan toward the valley below. His tie hung loose around his neck, and his usually perfect hair was disheveled from running his hands through it during another stressful board meeting. At 34, Marcus had built his tech company from nothing, but success came with a price. He barely saw his 8-year-old daughter Emma anymore, and the guilt gnawed at him constantly. The radio played softly in the background, some jazz melody that reminded him of better times when his wife Sarah was still alive. 3 years had passed since the cancer took her, and Marcus still wasn't sure how to be both mother and father to Emma. Work had become his escape, his way of avoiding the empty spaces in their too-quiet house. As he rounded a sharp curve, something caught his eye. Smoke. Thick, black smoke rising from somewhere down the embankment. Marcus slowed his car, peering through the trees. There, about 50 feet below the road, a white sedan sat twisted against a massive oak tree. Orange flames licked at the hood and crept along the sides of the vehicle. His CEO instincts kicked in immediately. Marcus pulled over, grabbed his phone, and dialed 911 as he scrambled down the steep slope. The operator's voice crackled through the speaker, asking for his location and the nature of the emergency. He rattled off the mile marker he'd just passed, his eyes fixed on the burning car ahead. That's when he saw her. A woman in a wedding dress sat in the driver's seat, her dark hair falling in waves around her shoulders. She wasn't moving. Marcus's heart hammered against his ribs as he got closer. The flames hadn't reached the interior yet, but they would soon. He could feel the heat radiating from the twisted metal, could smell the acrid scent of burning rubber and oil. Ma'am, can you hear me? Marcus shouted as he reached the passenger side. The window was shattered, glass scattered across the ground like fallen stars. The woman's eyes fluttered open, dazed and unfocused. She was beautiful, even with a small cut on her forehead and dirt smudged across her cheek. I can't, she whispered, tugging at something Marcus couldn't see. My dress, it's caught. Marcus leaned through the broken window, his shirt catching on jagged glass. That's when he saw it. Her elaborate wedding gown, with its layers of silken lace, had somehow become twisted around the gear shift and caught beneath the driver's seat. The fabric held her like chains, and with each movement, the delicate material pulled tighter. What's your name? Marcus asked, trying to keep his voice calm even as the flames crept closer to the passenger compartment. Isabella, she breathed. Isabella Martinez. I was driving to my wedding. Marcus's hands worked frantically at the trapped fabric, but the silk was surprisingly strong. The more he pulled, the more it seemed to tighten around the metal components. Sweat beaded on his forehead, though he wasn't sure if it was from the heat of the flames or the pressure of the situation. Isabella, I need you to stay calm, he said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. What happened here? How did you end up off the road? Her eyes grew clearer as she focused on his face. There was a deer, she said slowly. A beautiful white deer, right in the middle of the road. I swerved to avoid it, and she gestured weakly at their surroundings. The flames had reached the front seats now, and Marcus could feel the heat growing more intense. He pulled out his pocket knife, a gift from his daughter last Father's Day. The blade was small but sharp. He began cutting through the layers of fabric, working as quickly as he dared without injuring Isabella. You're going to be okay, he said, more to convince himself than her. I have a daughter. Her name is Emma. She's 8 years old, and she would never forgive me if I didn't get you out of here safely. Isabella managed a small smile despite their circumstances. Tell me about her, she said, perhaps understanding that talking would help keep them both calm. Marcus continued cutting through the silk as he spoke. She loves butterflies and strawberry ice cream. She has her mother's eyes, brown like chocolate, and she's the smartest person I know. She's been asking me why I work so much, and honestly, I don't have a good answer for her. Maybe, Isabella said softly, you work so much because you're afraid of the quiet moments. The ones where you have to face what you've lost. Her words hit Marcus like a physical blow. This stranger, trapped in a burning car on what should have been her wedding day, had somehow seen straight through him. He paused in his cutting, meeting her eyes. How did you? I recognize the look, Isabella said. I've been wearing it for months. I was marrying David because it seemed like the safe choice, the practical choice. But I don't love him. Not the way you're supposed to love someone you're promising forever to. The last of the fabric gave way under Marcus's knife, and Isabella was free. But as he helped her climb through the passenger window, she stumbled, her ankle twisted from the impact. Marcus caught her, supporting her weight as they moved away from the burning vehicle. They had barely reached the road when the car's gas tank exploded behind them, sending a ball of orange flame into the darkening sky. Marcus shielded Isabella with his body, feeling the heat wash over them in waves. The sound of sirens filled the air, growing louder as emergency vehicles approached. Marcus and Isabella sat on the guardrail, both breathing heavily, both covered in soot and small cuts from the broken glass. "Your wedding," Marcus said finally. "Your family, your fiancé, they'll be worried." Isabella looked down at her ruined dress, at the burns along the hem and the tears from Marcus's knife. "Maybe this was a sign," she said quietly. "Maybe I was never supposed to make it to that church today." The fire trucks arrived first, followed by paramedics and police cars. As the EMTs checked them both over, cleaning cuts and checking for smoke inhalation, Marcus found himself reluctant to leave Isabella's side. "Where will you go?" he asked as the paramedic finished bandaging a cut on his arm. "I don't know," Isabella admitted. "I can't face David right now. Or my family. They've spent so much money on this wedding, had such expectations." "You could come stay with Emma and me," Marcus said, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. "Just until you figure things out. We have a guest room, and Emma would love to meet you." Isabella stared at him, this stranger who had risked his life to save her. "You don't even know me." "I know you're brave," Marcus said. "I know you recognize truth when you hear it, even when it's hard to face. And I know that meeting you today, it's reminded me of what's really important." 3 months later, Marcus walked through his front door to find Isabella and Emma in the kitchen, flour dusting their clothes as they laughed over a batch of chocolate chip cookies. Isabella had called off her engagement that same night, choosing uncertainty over a loveless marriage. She'd moved into their guest room temporarily, but temporary had stretched into something that felt remarkably like home. Emma looked up as Marcus entered, her face lighting up with genuine joy. "Daddy, Isabella taught me how to make cookies. Shaped like butterflies." "I see that," Marcus said, loosening his tie. But this time, he wasn't exhausted from another endless day at the office. He'd started leaving work earlier, spending more time with the two most important people in his life. Isabella smiled at him from across the kitchen, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, wearing jeans and one of his old shirts. She looked nothing like the bride trapped in that burning car, and everything like the woman he was falling in love with. "How was your day?" she asked, the question simple but filled with genuine care. "Better now," Marcus said, and meant it. He'd learned that sometimes the most beautiful things came from the most unexpected places. Sometimes you had to drive through smoke and flames to find what you were really looking for. And sometimes, saving someone else was really about saving yourself. As they sat down to dinner together, Emma chattering about her day at school and Isabella listening with the kind of attention that made the little girl glow, Marcus realized that the quiet moments no longer frightened him. They had become the moments he treasured most.